this channel where we spread love and positive vibes. And we want to start by thanking our new subscribers, our returning subscribers. We really appreciate. We don't take it for granted, and we really thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly hit that subscription button. It is free of charge, and we're going to appreciate. Thank you for liking our videos, and actually all what you do for us, we appreciate. So today, before I start my video and explain to you what we are going to cover today, I want to start by saying we are soon changing the name of the channel. So kindly bear with us, because most of the things that we are shooting are not in relationship and marriage, and therefore we are going to change the name of the channel so that it can reflect what we are doing. And therefore, we appreciate you for your patience and for your understanding. So today, I am going to talk about spirituality. Spirituality in the Caribbean, and I'm going to touch a country here in Africa and our own country, Kenya. And I also talk about spirituality in Haiti, one of the countries in the Caribbean, and in Jamaica. So we are going to compare, or rather, find the similarities between the spirituality in Haiti and Jamaica and spirituality here in Kenya and in a country called Benin in West Africa. You'll find that the Caribbeans have borrowed a lot what was happening in West Africa, because of the fact that the people of the Caribbeans, most of them came from West Africa as slaves, and they went to the Caribbeans. And during those days, during the days of slavery, because of the hardships and the sufferings they used to endure, they had to look for a deity, a power above human powers, so that that power can protect them, that power can shield them, that power can actually fight their battles. And us as Christians, that power, we call it God. We believe in a God, a great God, let me call him a great God, that is able to fight our battles, that is able to heal us from sicknesses and diseases, that is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above what we can imagine. So we believe in that God as Christians. And therefore we are going to look at other people, because people believe in so many different things, depending on how they were born, depending on how they were brought up, depending on the culture they found on the ground. And therefore we are going to look at these cultural practices, religious practices in Haiti and Jamaica and Benin in West Africa and here in Kenya. Though I'm telling you that Kenya, we are Christians, there is a lot of practice in the spirits. There's so much. Actually, right now, there has risen a religion in my own community. And that religion practices a lot of spirituality, just like I saw in Benin and even in Haiti. And so there is a lot of spirituality in Africa, and I also saw there is a lot of it in Haiti and some in Jamaica. So we are going to look at that. When you look at the beautiful Caribbeans with the beautiful mountains, the beautiful waterfalls, the beautiful people, the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful rivers, the beautiful water of the sea, know that there is a God above every other God that these people worship, that these people reference, and that God has made it possible for them to enjoy what they are enjoying. So we are going to look at spirituality in those countries that I have highlighted, and I'm going to look at first spirituality in Haiti. I want to start by saying I am so happy to see the Haitians or Haitians. Is it Haitians or Haitians? Going on with their businesses irrespective of what we hear, what we are made to understand. And therefore, as I was seeing African Tigress moving around Haiti and different people performing different activities and also enjoying themselves by dancing on the streets, by going to the festivals, by having a good time, I was so happy until the tears were almost flowing down my tears. The tears of joy, the tears of seeing people who have suffered, celebrating irrespective of the pain they have gone through, irrespective of what is going on in their country, irrespective of what people view and say about their country. So I was so happy to see Haitians, let me talk about Haitians celebrating around the streets in the towns, dancing, making merry, and doing a lot of activities. I could see African tigress on the shores of the sea. I don't know what they are, shores of the sea. And the people are doing different activities and enjoying, and I could actually see some tourists on those beaches. And I said, God is alive. He has fought for the people of Haiti. He has actually brought liberation in that country. And soon, we are going to see Haiti bouncing back to where it was. It is going to grow economically and in every aspect of a country, we would want it to grow. We know Haitians are patient people. They are actually hardworking people. They are jovial people. They are humorous people, because we see always them being happy, carrying on their activities, doing their festivals without actually coming down and getting depressed and talking about war. They are doing their activities in a very jovial way, which made me to be so happy to see our fellow black people enjoying their life, being happy irrespective of what is happening in their country. And I'm sure soon Haiti will be free and it will celebrate their freedom in a mighty way. So let me talk about spirituality in Haiti. And I want to start by saying spirituality, most of it in Haiti, was actually adapted during slavery. Because like I have said, most of the slaves were going through hardships. They were going through tough times. They were going through a lot of punishment, a lot of pain. And therefore, they intended to actually contact the spirits so that they may fight their battles, liberate them from slavery, and actually bring luck to them. Which actually happened because Haitians got their independence. But we still see Haitians are still suffering, and therefore they practice a lot of spirituality to actually invoke God in whatever, or invoke the spirits, depending on the kind of worship they do, the kind of religion they do, so that he can actually, or rather they can actually protect them, heal them, provide for them, fight for them, and all that. And that is what makes people to actually contact a higher power than the power they have here on earth. In Haiti, they practice something we call voodoo. Is it voodoo? People are going to correct me if I am wrong. So I happened to see a voodoo ceremony or festival in Haiti. And I was actually amazed. Let me use the word amazed. Because this activity was full of so many things that were being done. The festival was full of so many cultural things that were being done. Like I have said, this voodoo festival is way back borrowed from the times of slavery, and therefore there is a lot of invoking of the spirit, there is a lot of worship, there is a lot of dancing, there is a lot of things that are done. And actually I was very much amazed. I watched such an occasion in Haiti, and I am telling you, I could see candles being burnt. I don't know what is the symbolic of the candles and what the candles are supposed to do in terms of the spirits, because according to my understanding, I understood that voodoo is a festival done so that people can communicate with the spirits, and the spirits can bring either good luck, fight their battles, do all those things to them. So I found that there were some candles that were being written, and I also found that there is a lot of sacrifices, there is a lot of slaughtering of sheep, goat, and chicken. And also, I found something very peculiar. By the way, I've never seen a voodoo festival taking place. This was the first one, and that is why I said I'm going to highlight about it. So you're going to see on the screen the voodoo festival. And and there were some women who are carrying things on their head. Is it a basket or a basin on their head? And that basin contained some things which I did not understand what they are. Maybe if you're a Haitian or you know what they were carrying on top, which was actually put in the basin, what were they carrying? You can tell us. I also saw something very, very peculiar. I saw a woman fall down and start lingering. Is it lingering or lingering? Going loud when she's down, and some people assisted her to wake up, and she continued dancing. And I understand that during this festival, there is some spirits that are invoked, and they are supposed to enter people. And when they enter people, people fall down. And when these people fall down, actually I saw it's an honor to be these spirits to enter you, and you fall down. And I heard somewhere that when this spirit enters you, you fall down and you start moving around when you are down, and you are assisted by people to rise up again, and you start dancing. I saw that it is not you who is dancing, it is actually the spirit that is in you. So the people who have actually witnessed, or rather have performed the voodoo ceremony, can actually tell us whether it is true. So this lady, particular lady I saw, and I'm going to put the picture on the screen so that you can see what was happening. This lady fell down, and she was actually like, she was not the one. She's not herself. And she was moving and lingering, and people assisted her to wake up, and she continued dancing. So I heard that it is no longer her dancing, it is the spirit. So these festivals are supposed to invoke the spirits that enter you and control you to do the activities that you do later. And I found that it's an honor to have this spirit entering you, according to Haitians. And I also found that the culture is actually practiced not just in Haiti, in other African countries, but I'm going to mention that later. So there was this Gede voodoo practitioner who is dressed in white. Actually, the people, by the way, the people are supposed to be dressed in white, and there are candles involved, and there is a lot of slaughtering, like I have said. They also paint themselves, like I saw a woman painted white. I don't know whether they use white and what other color, but I saw this particular woman who was painted white, and their faces to represent the spirits called Gende. So they paint themselves to represent these spirits that are called Gede, and the Gede spirits are the spirits of the dead. By the way, guys, when I saw this, I remembered there is a religion here in Kenya that is called, in my mother tongue, actually it is practiced in my community, and that religion is called Kiama. I don't know how I can. The group of truth. Let me interpret that. The group of truth. And in this Kiama, the group of truth, they gather and they slaughter. Actually, especially during dowry. I witnessed such a ceremony during dowry. And the person who is supposed to pay dowry, the man, is supposed to be accompanied by other men that are carrying beer, a lot of beer. And I saw the same thing happens. There is the pouring of beer to the ground, I think to appease the spirits. I don't know, maybe someone watching this video can explain to us. And therefore I saw in my own country this festival taking place. They carry beer, and when they are actually paying the dowry, the man paying the dowry is poured on beer, and some beer is poured on the ground, talking about appeasing the spirit. I told you, Christianity, we don't practice that, but it is practiced by so many people in Africa, especially in Kenya. By the way, in my community, this practice has become the order of the day. They do a lot of it, and there are so many people involved in this traditional religion that has come up. Actually, it was not there. It is actually rising now. And most people are entering this religion and they are doing that practice of pouring beer to the ancestors, and they slaughter and pour blood to the ancestors, I think to appease them. So, in this particular festival I saw in Haiti, there were candles and there was money to be given to the Gende priests. Remember I said the Gende, I think it's the spirit of the dead, if I'm not wrong. But the people who are here can correct me if I am wrong. I am ready to be corrected, because some of these things we don't actually know them because we have never seen them being practiced, but we are understanding them now. So the Gende is given money and candles, and I think to appease them. And it is believed, one of the man was saying, when they die, they use the spirit to enter other people's head. In other words, when somebody dies, they believe that that somebody can reincarnate. Do I call it reincarnate? And join another person in the spirit. So that other person will be behaving like this dead person. I tend to think so. So you can correct me if I am wrong. So I saw this man who was actually elderly explaining that when they die, they use the spirits to enter the people. Those spirits of the dead come and enter the body, and it's it is actually practiced in Haiti, and we saw it. It is accompanied, so I have said there are candles, there is slaughtering, there is sacrifice and gifts given to Gende, the spirit, and it is accompanied by a lot of singing, by a lot of dancing. I saw women dancing and actually people holding hands and dancing. There was a lot of merry making and a lot of dancing taking place in this festival in Haiti. I'm talking about Haiti because I'll go to Benin, where the same practice is done, and they have a festival day of voodoo, just like Haiti. So I'm going to talk about Benin. So I'm just talking about Haiti because this is where I saw this practice taking place. And I talked about there were basins put on the head of women, and I saw one man who was actually scrubbing the body and the face with green leaves. So the Haitians who are watching us, can you kindly tell us the green leaves are supposed to do what? Because the man was actually scrubbing himself with using green leaves. I'm going to put a video, a clip there of that guy who was actually cleaning himself using the green leaves. And it was so, I got amazed by guys. I've never seen such a practice again. And I saw the Haitians were very, very happy doing this spirituality festival, let me call it like that. They were happy, they were merry, some were actually carried away. And I could hear like, I don't know whether they were praying. Maybe the Haitians in the house can tell us whether it is prayer, because I could see them talking and actually focusing their eyes up and talking. Others are dancing, others are doing a lot of activities that were being done. So I actually found that people are very, very spiritual, and people want to communicate with a power above their powers. And it's only different culture and how we were brought up and who we interacted with and the people that came to influence us in terms of spirituality that make us differ in the way we worship. When I come to Jamaica, I wanted to find out, do Jamaicans have the voodoo festival? I got a shock, guys. Jamaicans, it is prohibited to practice voodoo. It's actually an offense in the rules of Jamaica. People have tried to talk about it so that it can actually be reinstated, it can be allowed, but the Jamaican laws have actually prohibited it. And I could understand it because in Jamaica, I have told you there is a lot of Christianity, there is a lot of belief in God, the one that we practice here in Kenya. And according to Christians, voodoo festival is actually termed as black magic, or actually it's not godly. We usually say it's not godly. So in Jamaica, it is prohibited. But I saw it is practiced somehow in the rural areas. But it is not called voodoo, it's called Obeah. Obeah. I think Obeah is the man who is contacted to do this ceremony for different individuals for different reasons. Some go to so that their love, or rather the person they love, can come to them. The person they love, they can be able to control them. In case of enmity, they go so that their enemy is punished. They go in terms of sicknesses so that you can get healed. Different hardships that happen to human beings. So in Jamaica, it is practiced in the rural area with a lot of secrecy, because people are not allowed to do it. So they do it in secret. The people who contact Obeah do not say that they have gone to contact these people. And the people who practice it, Obeah, and I saw they are called judges, they cannot proclaim they are doing it publicly. Because, like I have said, it is prohibited in the laws of Jamaica, and there is a punishment for anybody caught practicing Obeah or voodoo, according to what I saw. So, if you are caught practicing voodoo in Jamaica, they flog you, they whip you. It is actually done the way it was done during the colonial times. People are being flogged, people are being whipped, people are being hanged for practicing these religious activities. And therefore the people are somehow, Jamaicans are fighting so that these activities can be allowed as religious activities, but it has not been allowed in Jamaica. It is prohibited. But there are some people who reason that this punishment of flogging people, whipping people, they are not hanged, by the way, in Jamaica. They are just whipped and flogged, and they call it is slavery practice that came way back from slavery, and they usually say it should be reinstated to maybe a lesser punishment or prohibited from people being punished, because some people think that it is religion, and therefore the people should be allowed freedom of worship. And it is said that if you want to practice voodoo, you'll be allowed to practice after all. Even as we believe the kingdom of God is you, individual. It's not communal. And therefore, those people who want to practice whatever they want to practice can be allowed to practice, because they will face their maker if it's wrong. So it is not practiced in Jamaica, and if it is practiced under very, very great secrecy. I also learned that in Jamaica, the people who practice this, and I have told you they are called the judges, they go and purchase the items of their practice in Kingston. And the items they use are candles, just like Haiti. Excuse me, guys. So they use candles, just like the candles I've mentioned in Haiti. They use soaps and sprays called Go Away Evil. So these items are called Go Away Evil, and they buy them in particular shops in Kingston, and they buy them under secrecy, under a lot of hiding, because like I have said, this is not allowed in Jamaica, and the people who sell them are not open to say what they sell. They don't like talking. A few people talk about it and explain what they go and buy. So they buy soaps, sprays, and candles, and they call them the Go Away Evil. And the people who go to the judges, I told you these people are called the judges, the people who are contacted to perform these ceremonies, the people who go to them usually go so that they can attract a new partner, they can stop or an existing one from moving around, cheating, being unfaithful. So they practice these things so that they can protect people from being unfaithful. They can also prevent their enemies from attacking them, and some will practice it so that the man can be prevented from going to other women. Funny. These are things that are done. I don't know whether they are effective. Maybe the people who have practiced them, let me not say they are funny, because it is people's beliefs and we respect people's beliefs. So when people go to this judge, do these men behave? Do they behave? Or they continue going out? Or they stop going out? Or they stop cheating? Because most of these practices, actually they are done here in Kenya. And we call them the love potion. People go and contact, here in Kenya they call themselves witch doctors. They are doctors of traditional medicine. And when you go there, they give you something that will bring your husband back and prevent him from going out and actually make him to obey you. I hear that. So I hear that women go and buy those potions so that their husbands can obey them and do whatever they want. What the woman wants the man to do, so they go and bring it so that this man can actually be under her spell. Let me say that in short. So it is practiced here in Kenya a lot. There are so many papers of witch doctors who claim I can return lost money. When you lose your money, it can be returned back. They can return love where there is no love. They can restore relationships. That is what they claim. They can, I've never had one who can heal the sick, by the way, in Kenya, but they do those sort of things, return business. Actually, I saw even in Haiti and Benin, they do it for restoration of a business, for prosperity, or rather for the business to do well. So I saw that in Benin, but here in Kenya, they also contact those witch doctors for the business to do well, for your relationship to do well, for your enemies to be punished, and so on. So it is practiced even here in Kenya, and we actually hear about it a lot. So that is the thing that is done in Jamaica by those who go and practice it. Benin, let us come to West Africa. So we have looked at Haiti, how Voodoo Festival is performed. We have looked at Jamaica. We have seen there is no festival done in Jamaica, but people do it in secret to contact these people they call Obeah or judges. So we come to Benin. Benin, the activity is allowed by the government and it is actually passed as a religious activity. So they do all these practices, and actually in Benin, there is a voodoo museum. I think in this museum, you find the items that are used to practice this ceremony, to do this ceremony, and to actually the items that are used during the voodoo festival in Benin. Because in Benin, there is a day set aside for the voodoo festival, just like in Haiti. And they usually have a voodoo museum where they keep all the items that they use in this festival day and all the items that are used during the ceremony of voodoo. And therefore I found it very, very amazing to find the same practice in Benin that is practiced in Haiti. So I'm going to explain how this festival goes on in Benin. The Voodoo Festival is done in Benin, just like I have said, and I have said I'm going to explain how it is done. First of all, the Voodoo is more than a belief system in Benin. It is a way of life, including culture, philosophy, language, art, dance, music, and medicine. And we have seen it in Haiti. It is actually involves culture, it involves philosophy, it involves language, it involves art, it involves dance, music, and medicine. Actually, I told you that people, they have a certain language they were talking. It's only I could not understand. I don't know whether it is French or the Creole they use in Haiti, but they were speaking words which I could not understand. So in Benin, it is actually an activity that is done and officially passed by the government, and they even have a voodoo museum in Benin. In this Benin practice, they believe that Mohau is the supreme being. Mohau is the supreme being, and there are other spirits that are below Mohau, and there are about 100 divinities or voodoos that are below Mohai. And in Benin, they believe that these spirits, and I also saw it in Haiti, by the way, so they believe that these spirits represent different phenomena. You can contact a different voodoo for a different activity. You can contact another voodoo for a given activity. In other words, every voodoo, or rather, can we call them small gods, according to the people who practice these religions. So every voodoo has got what they stand for. There is a voodoo for war and blacksmith in Benin, and that voodoo is called Gu. That is a voodoo for war, who help people in terms of war, and even the blacksmith. By the way, in our traditions, there was the God for the rain, the God for the war, the God for all those. It's only that we became Christians and we believed that there is only one God. So I think here in Benin, they also believe there are different divinities who represent different things that are bothering people. So there is a spirit for war and blacksmith who is called Goa. There is a spirit for illness and healing and earth. So they believe that when you contact this spirit, if you're sick, you're going to get healed, and maybe you can be prevented from getting a disease, and that spirit is called Sakpata. Sakpata is the spirit for illness and healing and earth. And then there is a spirit for storms and lightning and justice. If there are storms, if they are lightning, if there are injustice, then they contact this spirit called Hevoso, or water, or Mami water. So those are the spirits that are lower than Hao, which we said is the supreme power in this worship by these people. So the voodoo priest use herbs. We found that in Haiti, they use, in Jamaica, we saw in Jamaica there is a candle, there is a soap, there is what else? All those things that I mentioned. So here, they have some things that they use. The voodoo priest, because they are priests that are going to do the ceremonies, they use herbs to cure sicknesses and to poison the enemies. I told you that most of these spirits are contacted when there are calamities. So when you have an enemy, you can contact the voodoo priest who will use medicine to cure the sickness, or herbs to cure the sickness and poison the enemies. They ask for the voodoo priest. They ask you to come with a chicken or a sheep, which they sacrifice to the divinity. They sacrifice to the God they want to contact. We have said there are different gods depending on what you want to contact this spirit for. So they practice that. They sacrifice to the divinity those things that we have said, and they pour alcohol on the floor. I remember telling you that I've seen those festivals here in Kenya, people pouring alcohol on the floor, and actually they say they awaken the dead spirits so that they can actually talk to them and tell them not to bring calamities to them. Actually, that is what, by the way, one of my brothers is in that religion. And according to him, the spirit of the dead are actually the ones that dictate what happens to the living, according to them. I'm telling you because I don't believe in that myself. So according to them, these spirits of the dead dictate what happens to you, whether there is goodness that will happen to you, or whether there is calamity that will come to you. And therefore, according to my brother, they have to sacrifice to the dead spirit. Right now, my father is dead. So they sacrifice to my father by pouring the blood and alcohol so that they can appease him, so that he does not come to attack the living. And I saw that in Haiti. So in Benin, this is what happens. So they sacrifice to the spirits so that they don't come to haunt the dead. People go for cure, so you go there to, maybe you have a disease that has actually bothered you, so you go there to contact this spirit so that you can get cure. We have seen there is spirit for illness, for healing, and for the other, Sakpata. So they go and contact this spirit so that you can get cure to the disease you are in. They also contact this spirit for jobs. If you are, when somebody lacks a job, people believe maybe there is something that hindering you to get a job, something that hindering you from your business prospering, and therefore they contact these spirits so that they can appease them, so that their businesses can prosper and their business deals can go through and they can get jobs. They also contact them, just like I have said, for spouses. If your spouse is unfaithful, if your spouse is not listening to you, people believe that when you contact these spirits, the spouse will come back and start listening to you. I don't know how true that is, by the way, guys. I'm just saying it because I have seen it here in Kenya and people practice it. Other people believe that if you're lacking a child, you have been barren for some time, when you contact these spirits, you can have a child. So those are different reasons why people actually practice this religion. So in Haiti, there has been so many problems taking place. There has been fights, wars, and the country is so unstable, and economically it's not stable. And therefore, people believe that Satan entered the island to bring problems, poverty, corruption, fights, and all that. And when they contact the spirits, they can appease them so that their country can be restored again, can become again, can prosper again, and can move forward. So that is why most of the people actually contact the spirits, because of the problems they are going through. And of course, Africa, we have so many problems, and that is why sometimes people go and contact these spirits to see whether they can appease them so that they can have peace, and they can get healing, and they can get jobs, and their businesses can prosper, and their country can come back to normal. So in Haiti, the voodoo believes pray and perform animal sacrifices to feed and beckon the spirits. So these ceremonies are done, and people pray and offer animal sacrifices to feed the spirits so that they can beckon them, and they dance until the spirits takes over their bodies. I told you the woman I saw. So this dancing and actually activities are done until the spirits, you are no longer the one that is fashioning. It is the spirit that has come to your body and actually dictates what you are going to do after that. It is said it heals, and they offer them advice. After these ceremonies are done, the spirits are contacted to offer them advice. And I think the spirits don't talk to them. It is people that are used to say what the spirits are saying, and actually maybe the spirit can talk to them through the dreams according to their belief. So I'm not very sure, but I think that is what they believe in. I think in Benin, the deity spirit is called Roa. I think in Haiti also, Roa. And this spirit has to be appeased. He has to be sacrificed for, so that he can be asked for help. So the Roa spirit has to be appeased by slaughtering the animals, by feeding them, by doing all that. It is believed that the spirits, as time goes, they become tired and they become exhausted, and you have to actually feed them and actually appease them so that they can continue bringing prosperity, bringing joy, bringing happy marriages, and bringing all that people believe in. So today, I was talking about spirituality. There are so many things that people believe in, but all people come to worship and believe in this spirituality because of what they go through, and they believe that there is a higher power that can actually come and appease these spirits so that they can bring luck and bring good tidings to them. But we as Christians, we believe that God is the supreme power. He's the one who fights our battles. He's the one who calms the storms for us. You saw there was a God who calms the storm in Benin. So we believe that God calms the storm for us. God is the paramount power above every other spirit. So that is what we believe in. And this God is able to fight our battles, like we read in the Bible that God was fighting the battles for the Israelites. God was calming the storms for the Israelites. God was actually healing the sick, raising the dead like Lazarus' daughter. And actually, he's the one who made the Israelites to conquer the different people who are their enemies. So we believe in a deity God, a God above all other gods who fights our battles. And I think my video will end here. I wish you the best, but it is very, very important to have a God who fights your battles, because human beings, we are limited to powers. But there is a God who can fight our battles. There is a God who can come and calm the storms for us. There is a God who is the healer, because he knows every part of our body, and he's the one who brings healing. Bye-bye. See you during the next video.